Hi, it's the afternoon here after lunch in the UK. It's another dreary day, but I'm feeling quite positive today. I haven't had a very good night's sleep, but I don't think that really matters. Really, you just have to plough on through, don't you? I've got a big week this week, so there's a lot of things happening on each day. And specifically, my book, Calm Your Mind, is coming out in the UK on the 24th of this month, and it's going to be available in the US and in Canada from the 29th, but it's ready to pre-order now. And it's going to be available in the rest of the world as well. I know that we did very well with my first book in Australia and in South Africa, and I'm hoping that that's going to continue with my next book. So today I thought for the next few sessions, live sessions, I would take a subject which I've got in the Journey Finder, actually in my book. I'll show you. It's really, I think it's a really good way of navigating through the book. Where are we going? That way. Through the book and also through life. And I've got these little kind of buttons here, and each one is a different sort of emotional feeling. And yesterday I talked about gratitude, and that's one of the big features in my book, one of the big sections in my book. And in fact, I've just written a piece about gratitude, which is going to be coming from my website this evening, where I do a thought for the week every week, and it's about gratitude. And actually I wrote about how I have been feeling pretty miserable for myself, and I'm sorry if I've been doing a bit of a misery dump on you all with my leg, but I'm beginning to feel a lot better. And it's interesting, isn't it, how as soon as your mind starts to sort of pick up and you start to feel a little bit better, you start to realise about all the things that you have in your life, or certainly I have in my life, that I'm really grateful for, and all the people and all of the things that are related to those people, whether it's with my online community like you guys, who've been really, really super supportive. In fact, you've been super supportive in all things. You've been super supportive in supporting Ravenous Butterflies here on Facebook and on Instagram. And also those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you so much for that. That's really brilliant, because that helps me a lot. And also just my friends, my family, my kids, my general local community here where I live, everybody's just been so kind and supportive, and I sort of realise actually how fortunate I am, and I am very full of gratitude for that. So thank you very much. So that was my topic yesterday, and today I thought I would do kind of a bit, it's one of the headings in my Journey Finder in my book, and it's becoming. And I wonder what that actually means. What does becoming mean? When I put my Journey Finder together, I just wrote a kind of random list of things which are relevant to me as a woman in my generation of women in my kind of mid to middle to autumn life. I don't know. I'm going to be 60 next year, whatever that means. And I put just a list, of just threw kind of a list of words together, of adjectives together, about what are the most important things to me that have really influenced the way that I think, the way that my life has gone. And also I thought that would be relevant to you. And I think becoming, it might be a bit of a kind of new agey kind of word or title, but I think it's really relevant. And I think certainly for our generation, my generation, even for younger women as well, and older women, we can become who we are. That's kind of one of the ways I look at it, becoming who you are, becoming more like you, becoming who you actually, the essence of the authenticity of who you are. And I do think that becoming is something that can happen at any age. And I definitely feel for me it's happened later in life. Now, whether it will become stronger, my becoming, or not as I get older, and I kind of distill my thoughts and ideas and my wisdom and my life experiences down into perhaps even sort of more kind of stronger ideas about what's really, really important. And I will probably become more me as I become more confident in myself, perhaps. And as I've said to you so many times, I'm living my life in reverse. So all of this social media stuff, it's all really bizarre to me, because I mean, I don't even know how it happened. And all of this sort of me writing 2 books, and my next book's coming out this week, it's sort of, I don't feel like I have imposter syndrome, actually, because I do think that the books I've written are absolutely justified, and they are completely true to who I am, and I 100% believe in them, and they are absolutely worth doing, and I've done them, and I don't know if anybody else could have done them. Maybe they could have done them, but I have put them together and I have made these books, and I think that they're an important part of a kind of self-help, or a sort of little guide really through life, because life does have its ups and downs, and it is difficult sometimes, and I do understand that, and I've been through it, and I put these books together to help other people go through things too. So the becoming part of that is kind of who I am now, and I think becoming is a really important part of our development. Our development as human beings, but also probably specifically, well, from my point of view, as women, because we've been through quite a lot. We've been through a lot of change. We're still fighting for independence of our bodies in some countries. That's all very strange, isn't it? We are also fighting to get equal pay a lot of the time. I mean, I know women who of my sort of generation who were in amazing jobs. I mean, the head of their profession, and as soon as they resigned, well, they tried and tried and tried to get equal pay with their male peers, and as soon as they did, well, after years of not, they decided to resign and go and do their own thing. And then, lo and behold, a man steps into her shoes and he suddenly gets way more than she got paid. And he also happens to be a friend of the person who's employed him. So it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I don't know how it's going at the moment. But I'm hoping, and certainly as a woman from that kind of generation, I really feel like I am becoming who I am now. And I have a voice. And I'm very fortunate to have a voice which I can use for good on social media and in the press and wherever it's going to be heard, and through my books and all of my videos that I do on YouTube and on here and what have you. So I think becoming is a really important part of my kind of my development, really. And I think, as I said, for women of a certain age, I mean, and I don't know whether becoming happens all at once. I mean, or whether it sounds a bit like the Velveteen Rabbit, doesn't it? Or whether becoming happens because of a product of what we've been through, and perhaps how we have kind of got educated, or how we have been educated through our emotional development, and whether becoming is a part of the culmination of all of that. It's kind of like the end result of that, or maybe it's the beginning of that. As you start to become who you are, you become more and more, you become stronger and stronger as a person, and perhaps then your voice gets to be more defined, and people will listen, which is a really good thing. Or maybe becoming is maybe becoming comes through physical change. I mean, when we're young, we go through our hormones change when we're 10, 12, something like that. We start getting our periods, and then we go through those childbearing years where we're sort of very frisky and we want to have kids, and we want to reproduce. At least some of us do, some of us don't, and that's all fine. That's all okay. Absolutely fine. Whatever your choice is. And then once we've gotten past that and we get to sort of the perimenopausal stage or menopause, things start to change again. And then I think having gone through that myself, I think there's definitely a sense of actually post-menopause really not really, well, I'm not going to say not giving a, but actually I don't really care what people think anymore in a way that I used to. I have become who I am for a reason, and because of all the sums of my parts, and therefore I am me. And I do not need to make excuses for being me, and I do not need to stand up and be counted or any of that. I mean, okay, I'm doing these videos, I'm doing all of this stuff, but I'm doing it because I think it's a really important thing to do. And I think it's a really important thing to show other people that actually, it doesn't matter what age you are, I will still be doing this when I'm completely grey. I mean, I need to get my hair done and it is getting pretty grey, but I will still be doing this. I tell you, I promise you, I'll still be doing this when I'm really, really wrinkly and old, and I will probably be even more assertive and more defined and have become more of me and more distilled than I am now. So watch this space. So I'm going to take a little breather and do some reading now from my book, Calm Your Mind, which is, as I said, is coming out on the 24th in the UK and the 29th in North America and in Canada. And I'm choosing the becoming bit. So I'm going to read, I've got my little markers here. I'm going to read a few little excerpts from the book and show you. This is a lovely Felix Vallotton painting of this gorgeous woman who looks, I mean, she could look a bit fed up. She could be looking a bit grumpy, but I think she looks quite stoic and I think she looks gorgeous. And I'm loving that dress and I love all the fabric. And I think she is absolutely, to me, steadfast and completely comfortable in her skin. And beautiful. So I'm going to read this. It's from Kate Chopin and it's from The Awakening from 1899. So imagine what women were going through then before they even had the vote. She was becoming herself and daily casting aside that fictitious self which we assume like a garment with which to appear before the world. She was becoming herself and daily casting aside that fictitious self which we assume like a garment with which to appear before the world. I think that's really short, really succinct and really to the point, because a lot of us put on masks or clothes, we adorn ourselves with various things to kind of hide away or to become something that the world expects from us or something that other people wish us to see or be. And actually, if we can take away those masks, take away the makeup, take away all the fancy clothes and all of the, diamond jewels or whatever it is that people wear to the Oscars and to all of those award ceremonies, and get photographed in left, right and centre and get paid loads of money to do. Once you strip all that back and you are completely who you are and you are totally authentic to who you are, then you become yourself. And that becoming of yourself, that essence of who you are, is what is unique. Oops, can you see that? And beautiful about you. And that's why I think that's a beautiful painting. And not only do I think it's a beautiful painting, I think of it from its period as well. I think the way that she's just standing there with this kind of look on her face and a great warmth in her eyes. She doesn't look like she's cross or angry, or she doesn't look like she's been portrayed as anything other than who she is. She's wearing a beautiful silk satin sort of yellow ochre dress, and she's got some lovely jewels on as well, and her hair is all nicely done, and I don't think that she is somebody who would be like a maid or anything like that, which is why I chose her, because when I'm choosing paintings of representing people of colour from wherever they are in the world, I do want to show them as being dignified and having a life which is as equal, if not more substantial than a lot of the other people that were being painted at the time. This was painted in 1915 by Felix Vallotton, and it's Martiniquaise. So it's a Martinique woman, and she's a lovely one. She's got a very nice ring on as well. Beautiful. Right, and I'm now going to read another piece, which is actually from the opposite end of the spectrum. Let me show you this lovely painting by Scott Tuke, and he was a gay painter. He was down with the Cornish, the Newlyn School, down with the Cornish painters down in the southwest of the UK, and he painted a lot of this kind of luminous, beautiful boys down at the sea, swimming on boats, doing all sorts of lovely things together, and being free at a time when being gay and being homosexual was not allowed. So I think this is, again, a very, very important painting about becoming, because there was such a struggle for same-sex relationships throughout history, that I think this one, Scott Tuke's paintings really stand out for me as being a real celebration of the beauty of a same-sex relationship, and also of the becoming of who you are. Like these teenage boys or these young men, who are they? What are they doing? What lies ahead of them? why are they there together? Are they attracted to each other? Are they not? There's all this kind of lovely kind of summer kind of romance stuff going on, but also just such a beautiful, tranquil scene of just harmony and gorgeousness. And I've chosen a piece that accompanies that by Oscar Wilde, another famous gay man who actually has just had his statue unveiled, or a statue unveiled, by Paolo Zotta, I think, in London this last week. So it's a beautiful statue. So if you want to go and have a look at a statue or a sculpture, go and have a look at that. It's in, I think it's around in Chelsea somewhere. So yeah, that's a great one. It's not of him as you would imagine as a dandy with all of his kind of frills and beautiful long coat and everything. It's just his head really kind of chopped up a bit, lying on the ground on the side. But it's a big statement about who he was, and what a powerful man he was, and how he kind of tried to defy society. So this is from the Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This quote: "Live, live the wonderful life that's in you. Let nothing be lost upon you. Be always searching for new sensations. Be afraid of nothing." And I think that is just a beautiful accompaniment to the painting. Live, live, be afraid of nothing. Search what's in, search for what's inside you. Follow, follow your fire. Follow what's inside you. Don't be put off by what anybody says. And talking about this painting by Scott Tuke, which was in 1927. So there, that painting as well. Those words, I think, really, really, really echo the feeling of that period in history, as I said, when same-sex relationships were illegal. And if you're a woman, you'd be considered to be an old maid and living with perhaps your best friend in a house together, and perhaps having a same-sex relationship or lesbian relationship with that. But you could probably never really come out to people about that. And then the other thing would be for men, they would be bachelors and they might be living in a bachelor pad together, sharing an apartment or something like that, or a home together, but they would never be allowed to be practicing homosexuals. So I think it's very important that that aspect of becoming is kind of like goes across the spectrum really, and it does. I think I've always said to my children, you must feel comfortable in your skin. The most important thing is that you become who you are and you reach your full potential. And actually all of that most of that is actually about being comfortable in your own skin and having the confidence to follow your passion, follow your dreams, and follow who you are and be defined by who you are. Let yourself be your mast, if that makes sense. And everything else can be the sails attached to the mast. But make sure that your mast is a strong mast, because life is full of storms and it can be very rough out there. So you have to be a strong mast in that. And I think that's very, very important. Both of my sons are gay, actually, on that note. And they're both incredibly comfortable in their skins. They're both very different characters. And yeah, I just think that they are super confident and wonderful, wonderful young people. And, good for them, because they live in a time today where they can be who they are and hold their head up high and be proud of that. So that's good. Right, and then not in every country though. There are some countries that they wouldn't go to because they would be it would be very difficult for them to be openly homosexual, openly gay. So yeah, it's not great in lots of countries in the world. But luckily here in the UK, they can live their life just exactly how they'd like to. Right, and I am going to move swiftly on from that, and I'm going to take you to another wonderful piece about becoming, because today I'm focusing on becoming and what becoming means, and what becoming means to all of us, to each of us. We are all individuals, we all have different phenomenology, we all have different life experiences, we all come from different places and have different ideas, different ideologies. But I think there is a time in our lives when we can become who we are. If only we listen to that little inner voice about it and push ourselves through any kind of apprehensions about becoming that we might have, so that as we do become, we become stronger. So I think that's really important. So my next piece about becoming from my book, Carve Your Mind, which is going to be available from the 24th, but is available to pre-order now, has this beautiful painting by Nikolai Olstrup. Now, he's one of my favourite painters, and this is, I don't know if you can see, but it's of children in a silver birch wood, and they're mushroom picking and gathering up mushrooms, and it's called Foxgloves. There's some lovely foxgloves in there as well, and it's a woodcut, and he was just very, very well known. He's a painter from he's a Norwegian painter, and he's very well known for. He was around about the time of what's his chops, the guy that did the Scream, Edvard Munch, and he's very, very well known for wanting to immerse himself in nature and going out and up and living. He created this kind of idyllic village, kind of like an artist village, where he lived with his wife and they had several children on the fjords, and they were pretty self-sufficient. And I think you can still go there and visit his little house, which has all got kind of like moss-covered roof. I mean, it's really fairy tale beautiful, and I'd love to go actually. And he died quite young because he had very bad asthma and chest problems as he was growing up. And actually, famously, he said that he thought Edvard Munch he just sketched stuff. He didn't really complete any pictures. They all just looked like sketches to him. So I thought that was quite fun. But anyway, I love his works. If you ever get a chance, it's Nikolai Astrup, Astrup, A-S-T-R-U-P, and he's wonderful. Very, very magical. He does lots of lovely paintings of midsummer nights and fires and bonfires and that lovely light that never disappears over the fjords and the beautiful countryside, lots of wild flowers. It's really mesmerising and magical, his work. Beautiful. Okay, this is from L.M. Montgomery, and this is from The Story Girl, and it's, as I said, it's about becoming. Only a few who remain children at heart can ever find that fair lost path again, and blessed are they above mortals. They and only they can bring us tidings from that dear country where we once sojourned, and from which we must evermore be exiles. The world calls them its singers and poets and artists and storytellers, but they are just people who have never forgotten the way to fairyland. Only a few who remain children at heart can ever find that fair lost path again, and blessed are they above mortals. They and only they can bring us tidings from that dear country where we were once sojourned, and from which we must evermore be exiles. The world calls them its singers and poets and artists and storytellers, but they are just people who have never forgotten the way to fairyland. And you might ask yourself, what's that got to do with becoming? But I think that it has, because I think that there are people who have always been who they are, the storytellers, the artists, the music makers, and they do have a special little doorway, I think, into another portal, perhaps into another way, perhaps a portal into the imagination, perhaps in a way that that people who are very good at maths or science and things, they don't have the same kind of access to that kind of imagination. Very, very different imaginations, and I think as AI progresses, and I'm probably going a little bit off piste here, but as AI progresses, people are beginning to realise, the scientists are beginning to realise that they need the creative minds to bring the sort of problem solving and ideas to fruition, because it's the people who are truly kind of creative that make big differences in things and can problem solve, not just the scientists. So sometimes you need to go on a kind of wiggly route through that portal to get to where you want to be. But I think that's about becoming, because it's about becoming who you are, who you've always been meant to be, and that is the sort of creative storyteller, that is the artist and the poet, and I think that's a really important thing to be. And sometimes, you know, those things don't happen all at once, as is another quote from the Velveteen Rabbit. You know, becoming doesn't happen all at once. It takes process, it takes time. And as I said earlier, it's a life, it's a lifetime of experience that can lead you from A to Z or A to Z, and you don't get there straight away. And I think it's really interesting how in society today, the younger generation kind of almost believe that, everybody can become a I don't know, a YouTuber and make millions overnight. Well, you know what? It takes time, and life experience has a lot to play with that. Yes, you can be super lucky, and I think you can just get something that goes viral or whatever, but most of the time it takes time because you have to have the vision to be able to kind of simmer away all those ideas and distill them, and then kind of open up the dam of things and let them out. And perhaps you have more to say as we age. Perhaps we do have more to say as we become who we truly are, or who we were truly meant to be. Who knows? Right, I'm going to read another piece from my book, which is coming out this week in the UK, Calm Your Mind, on the subject of becoming. And I think I may have read this out the other day. It's this lovely picture here by Bonnard, which is just, again, a lovely sort of effervescent, bubbling painting of light. And it's called Nude in Backlighting, or Eau de Cologne. I wonder what it must have smelled lovely. And this is from Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White, this quote about becoming. The woman who first gives life, light and form to our shadowy conceptions of beauty fills a void in our spiritual nature that has remained unknown to us till she appeared. The mystery which underlies the beauty of women is never raised above the reach of all expression until it has claimed kindred with the deeper mystery in our own souls. What a wonderful way of writing. No wonder The Woman in White was a massive bestseller when it came out in 1860. I mean, it's just a gorgeous way of expressing yourself with the way that he's written those words. The woman who first gives life, light and form to our shadowy conceptions of beauty fills a void in our spiritual nature that has remained unknown to us till she appeared. The mystery which underlies the beauty of women is never raised above the reach of all expression until it has claimed kindred with the deeper mystery in our own souls. Claimed kindred. I think that's a really lovely way of putting it. I mean, the mystery which underlies the beauty of women is never raised above the reach of all expression until it has claimed kindred with the deeper mystery of our own souls. How beautiful is that? And yes, I agree. I think that if you're claiming mystery with it, it's just the mystery of our own souls, kindred with the, it's just lovely. And I think it's just a very poetic, beautiful way of expressing probably what women are, and what women can be, perhaps. Well, men probably too, but this is specifically about women, so let's keep it on track for that one. For The Woman in White. And I am going to look at another really one of my favourite paintings, actually. It's by, I'll show you, it's by George Henry and Edward Atkinson Hornell. And it's, whoops, can you see that? It's they were part of this group of artists called the Glasgow Boys, and their work is just fantastic. They were up in Glasgow, up in Scotland, painting, and there was a group of them, and they were kind of very influenced by the Impressionists and Post-Impressionists, but also by Corot and people like that, and Courbet, people who were painting a lot of open air paintings that were to do with people working in the fields and things like that. And they all, again, they have this wonderful light to them. So in Scotland, where they were painting, they get this amazing kind of northern light, and it's very clear and very clean. And then they also travelled to northern France as well and did a lot of painting there. And their work, if you ever get a chance to look them up, do take a look. The Glasgow Boys, and they are a group of practicing artists that were very well known for some of the most beautiful paintings. And this is called The Druids Bringing in the Mistletoe, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it's very kind of tribal, and they look almost like they're native, sort of South American native tribe or Indians or something. But you've also got these kind of characters that look like they could be from, I don't know, he could be kind of like a sort of Coptic Christian or something, and then you've got these sort of like druids, and but then you've got, you know, as I said, these other people. It's very hard for me to do this backwards, but can I go there? Yes, with these great big necklaces and kind of huge, kind of almost tribal pieces of jewellery on. And this is Aldous Huxley, and I actually found his grave the other day. I wasn't looking for it, but I went to my favourite place, this little mortuary chapel, and there his grave was just there, Aldous Huxley. I think it was definitely, it was in Compton in Surrey, and it was at the Watts Memorial Chapel. So I was really surprised by that. Anyway, it was quite nice to know that he's up there. So this is the little quote from Point Counterpoint by Aldous Huxley. I wanted to change the world, but I have found that the only thing one can be sure of changing is oneself. I wanted to change the world, but I have found that the only thing one can be sure of changing is oneself. And if we think about that in terms of becoming, that sentence, I think it's very appropriate, because you can change yourself. You can. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of, it can take a lot of conscious effort, and you can do it. You can change yourself. I mean, when I think about me, for instance, I changed my physical self by losing half my body weight when I was, after I had my first child. I was probably about, 32 or 34 at the time. And then you go through phases, don't you, where you decide you're going to stop eating certain foods or drinking alcohol, or you're going to give up smoking, or whatever it is that you know is your kind of your little nemesis that you sort of fell into, these little kind of habits you fall into. But you can change that. You can change it. You can. It's kind of like, I don't know, CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy perhaps, or a little bit of just getting up every morning and deciding to go for a walk, even if the weather's not great, and every day doing a few more steps, or going down a little bit further down the road, or doing one lap of the, walking one lap of the graveyard or the park, and then maybe doing another one, and taking it just very slowly. You can change the way that your brain is wired. You can change yourself little by little. You can. I'm not saying it's easy to do great big giant leaps into the future of change all at once, but little minute changes, little tiny tweaks, and I think that's very doable. I do, and I'm trying to do that at the moment. I'm trying to do that with my eating habits and sleeping, and my next thing is to give up drinking wine during the week. It's probably a good idea. Just stop drinking, I think, is probably a good thing. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, was becoming. And I think becoming is a very important thing. And we're on this planet for quite a short space of time. And believe you me, you get to my age and things do kind of start to speed up a bit. And you realise that if you haven't become yet whatever you're going to become, then your becoming can't take too long to get to the becoming bit that you're going to become, because there's not that much time. So it's really important to become who you are in now. So let me just see if there's any little questions or comments here. I'm pretty rubbish at doing this, but I'm going to try. So Pat Plusu says, agree, naked beauty is you. Oh, maybe that's something to do with one of the things I read. And Carol says, what's his name? I'm not sure who you're referring to, but perhaps you could put that in the chat and I can answer that for you. If anybody else has any questions, please do go ahead and ask me now, because I'm going to be going soon, because it's getting a little bit late, and I think I'm going to take my little Clemmy Bear dog for a walk before it starts to rain and before it gets dark. So if you do have any more comments, please do ask me. or you can put them in the comments and the feed, and I will answer them once this video is up and posted on my page. Oh, Jennifer says thank you for the chat. It's my pleasure, Jennifer. I quite enjoy these chats, I have to say, and I think taking my book and just going, like I said, from this journey finder, which I did it in my first book. I didn't want to have an index because I think indexes can be just too formulaic. But here we've got all these different little topics, joy and love and kindness and all sorts of things. And I think it's a really lovely way to navigate through literature and through a book. Right, let's just see if there's anybody else. I think some other comments have just come in. Let's have a look. So Charlotte says, thanks, great listening, totally sorted through my wardrobe, thanks. Oh, so you sorted through your wardrobe while you were listening to me. Well, that's like having your friend on the chair or sitting on the corner of the bed, just sort of egging you on as you thought through your wardrobe. So that's a brilliant thing to do on a day like this. Well done for that. And Peggy says, beautiful words. Is your book going to be available in the US? Yes, Peggy, it is. In fact, it was a #1 bestseller in the US. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to put the link, well, the link is in my link tree, which is on my bio, but also the link will be on my website, which you can go to, and you can just, it's Ravenous Butterflies, you can just buy it directly from there, or just go to Amazon, or you can go to Barnes & Noble, Ritzley, any of the good bookstores in the US stock it. In the same way, same with anybody all over the world. If you're in Australia, if you're in South Africa, wherever you are, India, whatever, just get it from your, wherever you would normally buy decent books from, your favourite bookstore, or order your local bookshop. If you'd rather support, independent bookshops, then order my book from your independent bookshop, and they will get it for you. So yeah, it's going to be available all over the world. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a really lovely book. I'm really proud of it, actually. My first book, I'll show you. Oh, I'm just gonna have to move to get it. So this is my first book, which is An Apothecary of Art to Soothe Your Soul, and it's a lovely book. And this is my second book. So there they are. And you could probably buy them together if you go on Amazon. This one, the first one, was my baby, really. It's something I've been working on for a long time, and it was the book which had all of the ideas I'd been sort of brewing for ages, and they all sort of came out in that little book in a flurry. And then the other book, my second book, is something which was sort of like a carried on from that, which is really great. So yeah, so I've really enjoyed making this book as well. And I've started making another book, and somebody's delivering something, thank you very much. And I've started making another book, which is going to actually be a written book and not a book, not a picture book. So it's going to be a sort of self-help book, which is going to be very different to, well, not very different. It's going to have art and it's going to have poetry, but it's going to be more ideas and writing, and sort of to help you guide through and navigate through things in life. But I'm not going to say any more about that because I don't want to give the game away. But anyway, so yes, you can probably get both books on Amazon or anywhere really now. So, okay, so let's see if there's any more comments. Yes, Peggy says, oh, wonderful, I'm going to order one for me and one for each of my daughters. Oh, fantastic. They do make fabulous presents. I've given them to, I've given my book, because I only get a few books given to me by my publisher. And I've given them to my children, but also I've given them to babies that have just been born, from friends actually who've just become sort of grandparents and stuff, because it's just a lovely thing. And I think, if you give it to a baby, then they can dip in and out of it through life as they grow up, can't they? And they can find little bits of solace and inspiration and ideas as they kind of navigate their way through life. Susan says she loves the becoming subject matter. Sadly, Susan's sister passed away a few years ago from suicide. I'm so sorry, Susan. That's really tragic. I'm really sorry. But before she left us, her therapist asked her to be a person being instead of a person doing. I think it helped her a bit. I tried to remember it at times. Thank you. Oh, that's really sad. Thank you for sharing that. I know it must be difficult. And yes, it is important to be a person being, and as you be, you become, and you get and gain, and I think garner strength from that. So thank you for sharing that. Okie dokie then. I am going to. Oh, Darcy says she loves my sweater. Thank you. It's Gudrun Sjorden. So yes, if I've said that correctly, I don't know, but it's really nice. It's got a little waistcoat, see, and it's got a sweater underneath, which is nice and cozy, and it matches my walls, which was good. Sometimes I think I come on here and I do these videos, and I think, gosh, they must think Lisa's only got about 4 items of clothing, but I can tell you I've got more than that. It's just that sometimes I really like some things because they're so cozy and nice. This is my new favourite thing, so I've been wearing it for the last couple of days. Okie dokie, well, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day, and do check out my book. As I said, it's on my link tree in my bio, and you can get it from all good bookshops. And I look forward to seeing you soon. I'll probably do another one tomorrow, because I think it's quite nice to go through it like that and learn some stuff about the artists, and also the literature as well that goes with the quotes that go with the art, and why I chose them and what they mean. I think it's really interesting. Well, I think it's interesting, so I hope you've enjoyed it too. Anyway, lots and lots of love. Have a fabulous day, and rest of your day, and I shall speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.